After the Chicago Blackhawks 4-2 loss to the New Jersey Devils, the team held a closed-door, players-only meeting in the dressing room, and it was supposedly heart-to-heart. Now, we'll be going over everything, the reasonings behind this in this video, but before we get into it, we noticed that 94% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. So if you're looking for a spot to get all your news from the Chicago Blackhawks and around the NHL, you're in the right spot. Make sure to stay a while, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the breaking news. But like I said, the Blackhawks held a players-only meeting that was considered heart-to-heart by many of the veterans on this team after the loss to the New Jersey Devils 4-2, and they could not get the back-to-back wins, which they really needed going into this little stretch of the upcoming tough games here. But, you know, this is not going to be anything that we've seen from a coaching staff, from a players-only meeting standpoint before. It's not about the coaching staff. It's nothing like that. There's a lot of quotes that came out of this from, you know, the veterans on the team, and it was more so the veterans talking about this, not very much the rookies. But this came out saying that the Blackhawks locker room stayed closed for more than 20 minutes after the game. Seth Jones, Corey Perry, and Ryan Donato, three of which are veterans, not just on this team but in the NHL, confirmed there was a heart-to-heart players-only meeting. And now my best guess at what this would be is to help the rookies. You know, this team is obviously not where they wanted to be. They were not expected to be a superstar team, not expected to be an all-star team. But, you know, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a process throughout this season of what they're going to be doing. And, you know, I feel like a lot of players were just getting over themselves, getting a bit frustrated, you know. It wasn't working out how the Blackhawks wanted to. So I think the veterans, being Nick Foligno, Corey Perry, you know, Taylor Hall, Seth Jones, those guys, wanted to just come into the locker room and say, it's okay, guys. You know, this is going to happen. You know, the veterans are there to guide those rookies. Lucas Reichel, Connor Bedard, Kevin Korchinski, all the young guys in this team, guide them through their NHL journey, guide them to a start, and just let them know that, you know, nothing will be their way all the time. That's just how, that's how life is. Not just hockey, that's how life is. So it's definitely, I think, a good move by the veterans, you know, just to settle this team down and let them know that they're doing good. There's nothing, no harm.
Yeah, I think it goes to show the character in the room as well. You know, I mean, obviously we keep talking about Corey Perry and Nick Foligno, the additions that they've been brought in for key reasons, and this is another reason. You know, obviously Kevin Korchinski, Connor Bedard, Lucas Reichel doesn't have a lot of games under his belt either. You know, they're guys that are, you know, focused on their development and are trying to, you know, be the best player that they can be night in and night out. And you know that's draining mentally. And when you can you know rely on those young or those older guys, those veteran guys that have, you know, been there before, I think it's absolutely massive to have on a team. And I also think, you know, come 5-10 years down the road, Connor Bedard, Kevin Korchinski, Lucas Reichel, all those young guys are going to be where Corey Perry, Nick Foligno, those guys are now. You know, they need all that leadership, all that mentality that they can get. So I think this is awesome for the team.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Noah. The staff of the Blackhawks definitely did a fantastic job on choosing who they wanted to represent the veterans of this team. You know, Corey Perry's been on many teams. We know he definitely gets under people's skin, but, you know, from what we've seen of him over the years and watching him pretty much his entire career, he's an absolutely fantastic leader. You know, like everywhere he's been, he's a voice in the locker room, he's a voice on the ice, and he's there to help everybody, but he's also there to piss anybody he's playing against off. Yeah, he's like, he has a fantastic attitude for the game. He's so invested in it, and it's the same like every other guy. So it's not just on Corey Perry. It's the same with Nick Foligno. That's why they brought those guys in, especially knowing that this team was going to be in a bit of a tough situation where they are in right now, on the ice and off the ice. A lot of the off the ice stuff we're not going to be talking about, but just the whole situation right now, I'm sure a lot of that is getting overwhelming for these young guys in the Blackhawks. Choosing those guys like Corey Perry, that is such a leadership role of saying, we're not going to let the media in for a bit. We're going to close the doors. Let's have a chat. A man-to-man, heart-to-heart chat with everybody on that team, knowing that this was going to be a tough season. Like I said, on the ice and off the ice. But one more quote here from, I believe this is Corey Perry, saying, you're not putting anybody down. That's not what we're here to do. That wasn't the message. Just more of being brothers and being able to talk about it and figure it out as men. Now that, you know, that right there completely explains our point.
Everything about Corey Perry.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and no matter who that was, it's everybody had a voice in that room. They're there as, you know, I would say parental figures, realistically. You know, some of these guys are younger than us. They're 19, 20 years old. And then you have Corey Perry and Nick Foligno, guys nearing on 40. Like, they're old enough to be their dads. So, you know, it's definitely an important part of the game, especially the young guys. You know, you don't want to get overwhelmed or anything. That's absolutely not what the Blackhawks are there. They wanted to let them know, this team is a work in progress. We're not cup chasing right now. We're teaching and learning. It's just every team is doing that, but the Blackhawks are, I would say, a full exception. But Noah, what do you think about this? So. How this will affect this team going forward? Because I think obviously we know that it'll have a major impact, but I think this is going to put a whole new mindset in the rookies' minds.
Well, this just makes another case for down the road, Connor Bedard getting the C on his jersey. Plain and simple. I mean, there's so much adversity. Obviously, the pressure of being a number 1 overall pick is insane. I mean, that's beyond. In Chicago, it's a relatively good hockey city. It's everything going on off ice, which you said we're not gonna dive into really. There's so much going on in Chicago, and to be able to rely on guys who've been to Cup Finals, who've been in the league for 20 years. It's such a good thing to have, and it just makes Kyle Davidson look that much better as a GM.
Yeah.
So I do think it brings in so much leadership, and it makes Connor Bedard. Everyone's so focused on Bedard, his offensive skill, but there's more to being a hockey player than just scoring goals and putting up points. You got to be a good guy in the room. You got to be approachable. You got to have. There's so many different factors that come into being a team, and I think this just helps out the young guys. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I don't disagree on any of it, but we know a lot of people hate Corey Perry, and I can completely understand where that's coming from. The guy that he is on the ice is nowhere near the player he is off the ice. So having him being able to be that kind of player on the ice, but a completely different person in the locker room, that's just an absolutely fantastic thing the Blackhawks have. And I think that this is going to be, the contract they signed into alone explains that whole reasoning of why they got him. Obviously, no other team would probably pay, what is he making, $4 million for 2 years, I think it is?
$4 million or something, yeah.
Nobody in the NHL right now, other than the Chicago Blackhawks, would pay Corey Perry that much. But they're paying that, that salary, that AAV, for that very specific reason that we've completely, described in this video. So I think that this team going forward is going to have a whole new mindset. They're going to take things a lot easier. Obviously every game is going to be tough. The big one being the Devils and the Blackhawks there yesterday. That's obviously, you're going to have games like that. It's going to be tough. Couldn't get the back-to-back win, but this team now knows that, we got to take it calm. There's no pressure on us. They're not supposed to be anything this season, so go out, have fun, learn, the more important things than playing hockey. That's what this team is going to be this year. Obviously, they have to have fun. They obviously got to be competitive and go for wins, but there's a lot of more important stuff than just, the hockey, your skill, stuff like that. And I think that was very much emphasized during these meetings last night. And I expect maybe a few more of these throughout the season.
For sure, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Like another, just say a blowout loss. Close the doors. Remember the meeting we had on November 5th? Let's take it back to that. Calm it down. Let's settle it down. We're here to have fun. We're here to learn. We're here to play. That's pretty much what I think the message was. To me, that's what it seems like. There's no other reasoning I really think it could be. Obviously, it's a bit about the play as well. They haven't been a fantastic team, but they're so young that it's a learning curve. It's just like you starting something new.
There's bumps along the road.
Exactly.
All throughout NHL season.
Yeah, so that's definitely the big message of this this team going forward, and we'll be keeping updates on this team, so make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We know a lot of you guys that are watching are not, so if you're sticking around for the Blackhawks, you're hopping on the wagon, make sure to subscribe. But if you like the video, make sure to give it a like. Make sure to subscribe as well, like I said. Hope you have a great day. Thank you for watching. We're signing out. See you later.